Okay. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Welcome back to the G Lew Show. I am your host with the most, G Lew, and today, wherever you are tuning into this show, whether it be day or night, morning, noon, I don't know, but I am G Lew, and tonight we're coming back with this. It's not a new show. It's a show I used to do called Q&A, questions and answers with G Lew, a few years back, and I thought we'd bring it back because I just want to do some more content. You know what I mean, as they call it, content. Because I'm a content creator, but most of the content I do nowadays is mostly musically inclined, right? Because I just love music, and it's important that I do this show tonight because the things I'm gonna talk about tonight have to do with content and why I do or don't do content as much, right? So tonight we're back with questions and answers with G Lew. It is a Monday night, actually. You know what I'm saying? Happy St. Patrick's Day. But maybe by the time you see this, it'll be night, morning. I don't know. But I'm coming back with this show, right? Because I used to do this show before. It was called Questions and Answers. Shout out to my boy Conejo. I used to do it with him, or I would do it solo. You know what I mean? It's been a minute since I did it, right? So I thought I would bring it back because a lot of people have been asking about it. So I thought I'd give it a trial run. You know what I mean? And like I said, I just want to do more content because everything I do is mostly musically inclined. And the reason I chose to do that more recent is because the thing we're talking about tonight, like content and all that, is really like watered down in a sense. You know, most content creators that I check out, and I love like good content creators, is some good channels out there that do it, but most of the shit that's been going on is kind of crazy. These YouTube streets these days are really like crazy stuff I don't like to partake in, because there's a lot of craziness and BS out here. You know what I mean? And a lot of people that I do love their channels. It's a lot of people I've respected and known over the years, and a lot of people do content now, and it's just like, it's kind of crazy, man. I hate to see a lot of the things that are going on with a lot of the homies out here now, with this content stuff, because I see it's like turn people against each other. It just kind of crazy, man. So I just choose to kick back and just do my music because that's what I love, and it ain't really about the views or interaction or all that, man. I just like to have fun and kick it with my peoples, so thought I'd come back with this Q&A tonight, and if you like it, let me know. We'll keep it going. We'll maybe bring it back live and all that. But what I did with this Q&A to bring back, I submitted some questions to some people out there. Asked them what they want me to talk about, and they kind of let me know. So we're gonna start off tonight with a few questions that people submitted, and I'm gonna give you some answers. We got like 3 or 4 questions. I'm gonna keep it kind of short, and we ain't gonna be here hella long time. I ain't gonna talk your ear off, because if you know me, I don't like to talk that much anyway. And maybe I need to do some more talking, because I don't do enough like content, real content that's just like not musically inclined. And when you do like a lot of the music stuff I do, it doesn't really get monetized, you know what I mean, because it's mostly music. But I ain't tripping on that. But I need to expand more. People want to see me more, interact more, so thought I'd bring it back with this. And questions and answers, I submitted some questions, or people rather submitted questions to me, so I'm gonna give some answers. And the 3 that I chose were some of the 3 that I thought were most important or worthy for me to speak on, because these are things that I kind of look at it and I thought were like important, or like I said again, worthy to be talked about. So the first question was who submitted this? Shout out to Tiffany Jones in Florida. She submitted to me to this question, and I thought it was a pretty good question, so I want to answer it because it's things that I think about too, and kind of dear to my heart. That because I watch content, I watch YouTube. I don't even really watch. I got cable, Fire Sticks, all that, but I don't really watch much cable. I just watch a lot of YouTube. You know what I mean? So the first question is from Tiffany Jones in Florida. She said, G Lew, can you or people in general, content creators, successfully make good content without compromising yourself? And I asked, like, what do you mean compromising yourself? And, she kind of went in depth and said, like, mainly compromising your integrity, you know what I mean, your soul, your manhood, you know what I mean, your gangsterism, whatever it is you call yourself, or wherever it is you or content creators do. And she said, she asked me this because she sees the trend of content that has been going on, and how it has changed a lot, you know what I mean, and how people she thought some were real, or she liked or whatever, kind of compromised themselves for the content. And I thought that was a really good question, right? Because I feel the same way. It's like over the years, YouTube is really taking off, and YouTube has became a platform for a lot of people, homies, dudes from the streets, all this, to really come on and tell their stories. You know what I mean? Get their voice heard. And you got a lot of people, man, that are intrigued by like street dudes, or people who have a story, or someone they think is quote unquote real, or a lot of rappers, a lot of rappers too have become content creators. Like, really, content on YouTube is like the new rap game, or slash crack game, if you remember. Now the rap game remind me of the crack game, a quote from Outkast that Jay-Z sampled and all that, right? So content has really become the new hustle for a lot of people. So you got homies from the streets, and I'm gonna speak about like mostly. I ain't even gonna say that because it's generalized, but say like people, even like in LA, like West Coast homies. You know what I mean? Got a lot of gangsters, ex gang members, and ex rappers, or people who still rap or whatever, who are affiliated and all that. And a lot of people are intrigued by that, because as you know, people are always intrigued with gang life. That's just always been what it was. That's why gang culture and gangster rap took off like it did, because people were intrigued with that shit from day one. Since NWA, Easy came out, Ice-T, all that, they've been intrigued. But as we know, as the years went on, gangster rap, gangsterism has become commercialized, and it is taken off, kind of like how hip hop did. Hip hop started off in the East Coast, New York, and it was real like, I don't know, it was like hip hop was a baby that was formed, and everyone loved it. Everyone took to it. Everyone loved hip hop, and it took off. But it started in the East, in New York, mainly East Coast, New York, Philly, all that. But it took off, and just like gangster rap did, gangsterism, gang life, Crips and Bloods, essays, you know what I mean, gangs, period. It took off worldwide, and now it's a phenomenon. It's a like culture that everyone does. People gang bang in New York, where they never said gang banging would, like, New York homies hated gang shit. They used to talk about gangs and how can, like self-destruction, they were like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? So now everyone's a gang member and all this, right? But let me get back. She said, can people successfully make content without compromising themselves? And I was just going off topic because a lot of gang members and gangsters, ex-rappers, all that make content, right? And my answer to that is I don't know, because I've seen it go to, like, from a place to where homies come on initially, right, and tell their story and just make content about real life. You know what I mean? Because, and that's what the people want to see, stuff about people's real life. And then they may tell some stories. Like now you have prison channels, you have people that talk about their life in a gang, or their life coming up, what they did and all that. And now what has happened though, you've seen that shit turn from, like, man, it's crazy, because I see even people that I respect and like really have respect for get consumed by the content. And it's almost like now people do compromise themselves because it's all about the content. This content shit, what they call it, has turned into a fiasco. And now it's almost like WWF, WWE. where people just do anything for the content, and I understand, just like I said before, this content game is just like the dope game. You know what I mean? So now people will do whatever they need to do to get the content out or create the content that they feel people are going to be intrigued by, or they feel that's going to get the likes and views. And now people just like do anything for the content. You know what I mean? Like I see homies like, and it's sad because not only does the content get crazy and almost like, it's like content, but now you got all these people that make the content. Man, it's like a just like crack was like, right. And I'm someone that came up. I used to sell, not proud of it now, but I used to sell dope, sell crack, all that, anything to make a dollar. And we know what crack and hard drugs did to our communities. Everyone was there to get the money and to get the dollar, but in the end, in the long run, it destroyed a lot of families. It destroyed a lot of communities. You had moms and people's mamas out there strung out on drugs, people selling crack and drugs to their own mama, and you selling drugs to someone's mom. They're someone's mom, but what, you want that money. So the same thing that has happened with content now. People are damn near selling their souls to get some content out, and they don't care how it gets out, what type of content it is, who it hurts, or whatever. So people are turning on each other, selling out their own homeboys, family members to make content, and everything is just about the content. So they asked the question, G Lew, do you think people can successfully make good content without compromising themselves? And I say, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know, because it has turned some of the realest people I thought, like, I used to like look to and like, man, they some real ones. I respected them. Now they let this content like turn them upside down, bro. And I see like a lot of people like turning out bad. They turn on each other, dudes that were homies. You know what I mean? Now they're enemies, all because of the content. And but on the flip side is people that are still making content, I feel, without compromising themselves. And even though I know it's hard, because what happens is once you start making this content, you build your name, you build your channel up, you get a lot of views, you got a lot of subscribers and followers, right? You have to keep it up. You know what I mean? And then also enter the factor in that now this makes money, because YouTube and all this, they pay people. If you have a lot of followers, subscribers, a lot of views, you get paid by the content, right? So if you start seeing a little bit of money, you want that money to continue coming in. So people now gotta keep bringing more content, and they'll do it by any means necessary. And now what I've been seeing is it's been turning out bad for a lot of people. When I say bad, I just mean bad from a viewer standpoint. You know what I mean? People looking at it like, damn, man, you doing this or doing that. And now even the content creators, they make content on each other. This happened today, so you're gonna be content tomorrow. And it could be real life shit. People are gonna make content of you. That's why you gotta always be careful of what you put out there. You know what I mean? On the internet, don't, you know what I mean? I know it's hard sometimes for people to not get the two confused, real life and content. But when content becomes a source of income and becomes a source of like what you do so much, people put everything out there, and a lot of it turns around and gets used against you. Just like they say, everything you say or do can be used against you, like in the court of law. That's what's happening in these YouTube streets. People put out content and it's turned around and being used against them. And the crazy part is most like street dudes or gang members or whatever, their main thing is like they talk about snitching and all this. Like a lot of people now talk about who got paperwork, who snitches, that's the big thing of content. Who's all bad, who got paperwork, who did this and that. But if you turn around and look at a lot of people that's doing content, that's really all they're doing. So you don't really have to like the police jobs really ain't hard, because all they got to do is look at the internet now, look at the Instagram, look at the YouTube. People are telling everything, and so it's easy for them. So you want to call someone else a snitch or talking to, making statements or all this, but all we do now is talk about all this shit on the internet for everyone to hear and see. I feel it's no different. That's why me myself, it's hard for me to do even stuff like this because I just don't like to talk a lot because I feel like I don't want to never compromise myself. And I said I always do that. If you follow my channel, that's one thing I really stand on. Like, I want to stand on integrity, and I'm not perfect, you know what I mean, by any means. You know what I mean? I've done stuff in the past, like when I was even coming to YouTube and doing things that I thought I needed to do to build my channel or to do this and that. And I had to really take a step back and say, what am I really doing? And is this stuff worth it? And I've tried a lot of things, did a lot of different shows, did stuff with other people and all this, just trying to build something and you know, because that's what we want to do. We want to build our channel, and it's based off the content. We want to build something we can grow on and keep it moving. But a lot of times we just find out everything, like all money ain't good money. You know, all things don't need to be said. And you have to look at yourself in the mirror. You have to look at yourself in the mirror every day. You wake up, you go wash your face, brush your teeth. You got to look at yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing something that I'm proud of, or that I can look at myself and say, man, you know, and then not only that, when you put yourself on YouTube or in the public, um, you know, other people, you're putting yourself out there for people to have views, opinions, and all that. And then another thing, these comments and all this stuff can be bad because people can, you know, you got trolls, you got real people that fuck with you, but then you got trolls and people that just want to hate or have opinions, and you know that could really bother you. You know what I mean? And not to say that bothers me, but I'm just one that always tries to look from the outside looking in. You know what I mean? And think about the things I'm doing and what I'm doing, and just again say, am I proud of that? You know what I mean? Do I feel that's right, or can I really stand on that? You know what I mean? And a lot of stuff I know I just can't do. So it's hard. But again, can people successfully make content without compromising themselves? In 2025, I don't know, but I will say it is people that are still doing that. It's a lot of people. It's a few people I see that have been doing content and don't really let themselves get caught up in that. You know what I mean? Shout out to my bro Kev Mack. You know, it's a few people out there, man, that make. Shout out to Lucky. You know what I mean? The homie Lucky. He has a great channel that I like to watch. And what I like about Lucky, he's not perfect either, but I like that he's himself. I like people that be themselves. You know what I mean? And that's all you can really ask for with people. And the homie don't cut corners. You know, don't sugarcoat shit. He bees himself. And he's funny at that too. He's comical, but he keeps it 100, as they say. You know what I mean? And I can respect that. I just respect anyone that keeps it solid at 100, but don't compromise themselves just really to put fillers and bullshit just to make content. So shout out to Lucky, shout out to Kev Mack, one of the original gang channels that were doing this quote unquote gang content, but never compromises himself, man. I respect that about Kev Mack, man. Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Lucky. It's a few people out there, man, keeping it pretty solid. Shout out to Alex. You know, he's one of the originals that's been from day one. But we do know we have to keep up the content and keep the channel growing and doing things. So we try different things and do different things that, you know, I don't know. Some stuff works and some doesn't. But at the end of the day, people that just keep it solid, I respect. You know, and I'm just sad to say a lot of people, though, have been making content. And I know it's easy to get caught up because I don't think people go into this trying to say, I'm going to do this and do it that way. And then it turns out bad, or because a lot of people just don't see it. They're just making content. But this content can get you caught up in a way to where is, man, I got to do this content, so I got to keep it going. And you find yourself in a crossroads, man. So I've just been seeing that a lot. And another thing I hate to see with this content stuff is everyone is at each other now. That's one thing I don't like, man. Like, a lot of people came into this shit as friends, you know, came into this shit as homies, and a lot of them are enemies now, all because of content. So I try to stay clear of that. of the BS and all that, and just keep it solid, man. Just keep it solid. If you want to do content, man, just do content that you could look back at and be okay with. You know. So I don't know. I hope I answered that question. Can you successfully do content without compromising yourself? Yes, you can. But will you do it? Is the question. Me myself, I just always try to check myself, man, and just check myself. We're not perfect. None of us are. But we got to do that self check every now and then to make sure what we're doing, man, you know, is okay. You know what I mean? So hope I answered that question, Tiffany. This next question is who answered it? Who asked this? Oh, the homie Eli. Shout out to the homie Eli, man, in Stockton, California. He said, "Can one serve God and the streets at the same time?" And I thought this was a good one, right? Because similar to the first question, talking about content and all that, can you do good content without compromising yourself? Can people serve God and the streets at the same time? And I asked him to elaborate on that, and he did. And like I said again, I really like that because people sometimes mix the two, God in the streets, and some people say they love God, but they love the streets as well. I've even heard people say, man, they would pray. They would like pray before they go put in some work. Used to hear stories like this back in the day. You know what I mean? People would pray to God before they went and put in work, or they went and did a drug deal, or even, did some crazy shit. They would pray about it first, you know what I mean? And just, that would make them feel better. Now we're in a time where everyone says they love God. Not everyone. Some people don't believe in God. Some people are atheists or whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? But a lot of people do push God and say they believe in God and put God first and all this. But they some of the grimiest people, do some of the evilest stuff, or just real, do some real shit that you have to like, damn, really? You believe in God, but you do this. So I think that was a good question, because me, if you know me, I push God heavily. God is everything to me, and he's always have been. But I will say I've not always been in a mind state where I understand, where to put God and how God has a place in my life, and where I put God and how I conduct myself. Now, like, as you know me, I have a show on Sundays called It's a Gospel Thing and all these things. So it's like I really push God. I put quotes out there every day. If you follow my YouTube channel, you see mostly every day I put a quote or a scripture from the Bible, or just something positive for everyone out there. So when someone says, can one serve God and the streets, that's tricky, because it's like, that's like with anything, man. You can't have one foot in and one foot out. And that's with anything you do. You can't be call yourself going legit and doing legitimate things, but still having a foot in the streets, right? And doing some illegal shit over here that can compromise or jeopardize what you have going on legally. So the same thing with God. You have to realize at some point it's okay, not never okay, but it's more understandable when you don't know fully. Say you're not fully knowledgeable, or you don't have the full awareness or understanding of what part God plays in your life. You know what I mean? But once you do know that, you're mature enough to understand where you stand, who you are as a man, your level of maturity, your age, and the things that you're doing. You got to understand, man, you can't serve two gods. And a lot of times the streets are not of God. The streets are really the devil. That's the devil's playground, homie. If you know what I mean. And only people that's really been in the streets understand what I'm saying, man. I don't claim to be the most gangsterist, most G'est, thuggest, or hardest, or none of that. But I've definitely lived a life, homie. And I've been in those streets, man, since I was a kid. And not even saying that I had to be. I came from a decent family, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But I did roam the streets, which I chose to do. Sold drugs, been in the gang, all these things, and nothing I'm proud of. But I'm just that's my reality. And I do know when you are in those streets, bro, it's rough out there. Like I said again, I said devil's playground. The streets don't love you, and the streets ain't gonna give you nothing, homie, nothing, bro. So everything when you in the streets, you gotta take everything. You gotta get it. You gotta take it. You gotta earn your respect. You gotta get it out the mud. You gotta get it off the muscle, however that is. So really, the streets are really nothing of God, but the streets have God's children in them. Meaning that we roam these streets, people that roam the streets, some by choice, some by force. Some have no other choice. Some are born in the streets, have no other choice. So I've learned that too over the years, that God always a fool, like people that don't know, that are not knowledgeable of God and different things. I used to wonder why is this like that? And this is like that, meaning like that some people can roam the streets and do all kind of crazy shit and be successful, you know what I mean, do all type of stuff and just do their thing in the streets, no consequences and all this, right? While someone else that may not even need to be in the streets, or that knows kind of what they're doing and knows that it's wrong, will be punished more severely. Hope that don't go over your head. But I've learned that as I got older and understood that, again, the streets don't love you. You know what I'm saying? God loves you. The streets do not. You know what I mean? So when someone says, can you serve God and the streets at the same time? I don't think you can. Even though the streets, like, say you from the streets will always be in you. You know what I mean? You could take the homie out the hood, but not the hood out the homeboy, whatever that saying is. So that's understandable. And I think even when you have a level of streets in you, you come up in the streets, you know the street game, you have your street degree, you know what I mean, whatever that may be. I think that's a blessing, because that to me, street knowledge is something that can't be taught. You can't, like, that's the difference between street homie people from the streets and squares that they will never understand. If you come from the streets, it's just a different type of thinking, mentality, everything that someone that hasn't been in the streets can't get. And that's why people that are not street sometimes always try to seek the streets, or seek that what homie, or are intrigued by people from the streets, or gang members, or dope dealers, pimps, prostitutes, whatever. They're always intrigued by that, because if you don't come from that, you know what I mean, that's something that, like, you can't like buy. That's why it never works for people that try to buy it or pretend or fake. It never works for them. And real ones are gonna always seek you out, just like a lion or a predator sees their prey. They're always gonna see you, homie, because they know you're not from that, or you know you're not of that. You know what I mean? And sometimes people have to learn the hard way like that. So again, can you serve God and the streets at the same time? I don't think so. But I think some people have to learn how to separate the two. And you can't come from the streets and be in the streets, but learn how to separate yourself from that. And if you find God, man, which is, I think, the best thing you can find in your life, you're going to want God over the streets. You're not going to want the streets, because the streets don't love you. And the streets, only thing you're going to get out of the streets, homie, is death, destruction, jail, or just bad things, man, because again, the streets just don't love you, homie. They don't. And a perfect example of that, let me speak on this. Because another example is people trying to serve God in the streets, meaning they try to mix the two. I love God, I do all this, but I do this too. And God blesses me. God watches over me, knowing I'm doing bad and doing dirt, or I'm pimping or hoeing, or I'm selling dope, or I'm gang banging, but I believe in God, so God protects me. Now, you know, the perfect example of that, let me say this. It was a dude I used to follow. I'm sure a lot of people did. Some may know him, some may not. But it was a dude, man. He passed away recently. Rest in peace to the homie. His name was Sinful to P. He was like a pimp, right? But he brought his pimping online. Another thing, going back to the first question, can you successfully do content without compromising yourself. This was a guy who did successful content. He was successful at it. He was early on in the content game. I used to watch this dude. His name was Sinful to P. I think he was originally from Chicago, but he moved to the West Coast. He was in Vegas and LA and Arizona, all these places, right? And he had a dope channel. Because some things you're intrigued by, like I spoke earlier about people that are intrigued by gang members and this, that. I've always been a young dude that was intrigued by that dark side. That's just, me. Even to this day, I'm a changed man and, all that. But I'm still intrigued. I love classic movies. Godfather is my favorite movie. Godfather 1 and 2. All this shit. Scarface. I love all the gangster shit. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't approve much of, because I know better. That's what I mean. But I love that shit, right? But I was intrigued by this dude. He had a dope channel, and I just like realism. So when I hear dudes speaking, you could tell the real ones from the fake ones. And this dude right here, he was cold with it. He was good because he was pimping, but he was comical. He had a personality. And you know what I mean? You just like to hear this dude. He used to spit some real game. And I've always been kind of intrigued by pimping. Even though I never did it. I knew pimps. I had homies that was pimping and this and that. But me, that just never was for me. And I knew that. But I still was intrigued by it. What I liked about pimps, I never wanted to be a pimp. And I could never see myself selling pussy or women, because I have respect for. I have a daughter and things. And just the things that really came with that, I just knew that I could not do that, right? But what I did love about pimps was that mouthpiece, the way they could articulate themselves and speak and talk a lot of game. I love game, homie. Like I love people that because game doesn't have to be a bad thing. We're in a game called life. Life is a game, homie. You know what I mean? Some people win and some people lose. Some people don't go past goal, some go to jail and all this, but it's a game. Life is a game. It's the game of life, and it's how you survive and do all the things, maneuver to make you successful and see how long you last in this game. That's why we see some people didn't last long. Some people didn't make it past 15 and different things, man. So at the age I'm at, I'm thankful and blessed. That's why I love God so much. And I give it up to God, because I know the things I've been through, and I probably could not be here. I would be in jail. There's some things I've done that could still have me locked up right now. So for me to be here, it's really a blessing, and I give praise to God. But back to what I was saying, this dude right here was a cold dude. I was just intrigued. I love to hear him talk. He would tell stories and just almost preach, right? Notice I said preach. So what I did find out about this dude was, it was crazy, because he was a pimp, but he was a man of God. Before, as a kid, he grew up in the church. His mother was a preacher, I think. His father was a preacher. He grew up in the church and became a preacher at a young age. This was a very smart dude, bright guy, gifted guy. But somehow or another, and I think what it was, his mother passed, I think, at a young age, and he turned to the streets. So now what he did, being that he grew up his whole life in the church, he was a preacher, a pastor. He knew every verse in the Bible. Even when he pimped and you heard him talk, it was like you were listening to a preacher, but just a pimp. And whatever happened with his mom or whatever that changed him, made him go to the streets, and he became a pimp. He told the story how it happened, but he became a pimp, and now he's pimping, right? But he's using everything he learned from the church and from God, like all the scriptures. It's almost like he took everything from the church that he learned in church, the scriptures and all that, and turned it into pimping. So he's like a pimp preacher. So I thought that was some cold shit. And he called himself sinful. No disrespect now to anyone who hears this right now, because I really like that dude. I used to watch his stuff and his lives and follow his channel. But I just thought that was real crazy that, he called himself sinful. He was sinful to P. And like I said, he turned, and he will tell you. He said he still believed, he did believe in God still. And he took stuff from God in the church and put it into the pimping. And and like made it seem like it was okay. He made his followers and everything say it was okay, and said he was ordained by God, but he's pimping now, and I just thought that was weird. But like I said again, the stuff he said and how he pimped, and he had a lot of game. But I always thought in the back of my head that's playing with fire some way, because you were cold pimp, but you're using God to pimp, because that's where you really got your game from, was God in the church. And now you're using that into the pimp game. And he was a cold pimp. Just like you have great preachers and all this that can really talk the talk, he was that, but he turned it into the pimp game. And now this is what he did even online. He was still said he was proclaimed to be a pimp, but he brought it to the YouTube. And he took the YouTube by storm. He had crazy followers. Like, people were tuned into him and follow him just like he was a preacher at church. Just like you follow church preachers and all that, that's how people followed him. Gave him love. Like, he would get a lot of views every day. He would go live and hundreds of views back years ago, before this shit was even cracking like that. Donations, all that. Just like you were in church. So I was like, wow, that's crazy. Dude is cold though, right? But I was like, that seems to be playing with fire. And to move forward, eventually, that's kind of what happened. I don't know what happened with him. No one really knows. It's not been put out there. But it was like, out the blue, homie passed away. And there was some things leading up to that. So I have my suspicions on what could or can't be, but it's not for me to speak on. And again, that's not what we do on here. You know what I'm saying? But leading up to his demise, you would see him every day, and then you just wouldn't see him. He would go on and do lives, but he wouldn't show his face. And then I heard a lot of things. He moved to Canada, where they say pimping is legal. So I know eventually he did that, but eventually he was doing lives and would never show his face. So I thought that was weird. He would just say he's working out, getting healthy. He's going to show his face soon. He's on a new mission, and we just never seen him. He would just start going live, but he wouldn't show his face. But his shit was still popping, like, same way. And ultimately, out the blue, it was like he passed away. No one knew why. He had friends, and people that spoke on his behalf, and just said he passed away. And to this day, no one says how, why. It was speculation and rumors and all that. Again, not for me to speak on. If you want to do research on him, you could do it. But I'm just saying all that to say, again, I thought that was kind of weird, because we're going back to the question, can you serve God in the streets? And I always thought that was playing with fire, bro. We're like, can't play with God that way. And a lot of people do. Some of my favorite people, I thought, play with God. Eazy-E, the godfather of hip hop. I love Eazy to this day. But you would listen to some of the stuff Eazy would say, I'm the devil's son-in-law and things. Even when I hear those verses, when I hear Eazy song, I kind of blank that out, because it's like, whoa, I think about that stuff. Tupac used to, somewhat play. And I'm not using these people as examples, because these are everyone we love. I love all these people. You know what I'm saying? But you have to keep it real. We're keeping it real right now. This is real reality shit, homie. And you kind of can't play with God. So I look at these things, and that's how I base my life. I'm only saying that to say sometimes we have to look at reality and learn from things. We can't continue to recycle the shit that we know is not right, and then try to do it and make it right. We can't do that. So we got to keep it real with ourselves. So a lot of these things, I'm just saying to say that these are people I love to and look up to and all this, but we have to keep it real. I'm only saying that to say you can't play with God. So going back to the question again, can you serve God and the streets at the same time? No, you can't. You have to pick one. You can still be a street guy in streets. That's your history. But if you want to serve God, you got to serve God. You can't play with God. And that's one thing God does not play about. And I'm only saying that because I'm not perfect. None of us are. So it's a lot of things we have to work on, even myself, that God probably punishes me for. It's things I'm doing now that I probably know God don't like. But I don't know, because sometimes we don't have the answers. So it's like I'm doing this right now because I don't know another way. And God is probably showing you in so many ways He don't want you doing that. But if you don't know any other way, what are you supposed to do? And sometimes we pray and just ask God, like I ask God at times, God, show me another way that I can do this. I don't have to do that, or whatever the case may be. Because God will let you know, especially again when you know better. God will show you you got to do better. He's not gonna co-sign certain stuff that you know ain't right. You're not gonna be successful. You're not gonna have success at it. Nothing. And I'm learning that myself because there's some things I do that it's not even bad, but I just know God is not with it because if so, He would bless with those things. And if you're not having success or being blessed with those things, that's God telling you that ain't it. Do something else. But what am I supposed to do? So understand. So can you serve God in the streets? No. Shout out to the homie. Who was that? I don't know. I'm sorry, but I hope I answered your question. Now let's go on to the last one because I know I'm taking a lot of time, but these are deep questions, homie, and this is questions and answers. So I'm giving answers. Okay, this last one is good, and I think the ladies are gonna like this one. You know, anyone it will. Period. You know what I'm saying? Is real true love still attainable in today's era, 2025? Let's just say, is real true love or true love period still attainable? And that's a good question because being who you are, where you are in your life, what age you are, whatever, this is a good question because we're in 2025 now, and it ain't like the old days. You know, we had our parents, grandparents, all that were married and been together and stayed together for many years. We're not in those days no more. You know what I'm saying? I think my grandparents was the last one, or my mom and stepdad too. I mean, my stepmom and dad too. But grandparents were like the last ones we seen were together since young and stayed together forever. You know what I mean? We're not in those times no more. And it's hard if you're trying to tame true love right now, especially if you've been through some things. You know what I mean? Especially, I want to shout out to my women out there because I know these women been through a lot. Men been through a lot too. But women have really been through it because the women are the ones who have to really literally go through it. Men can just push on. You know what I mean? We could go through some shit or whatever, and we push on, keep it moving, go to the next, start a whole new family or a new relationship. And the lady over here still has to deal with whatever her previous relationship was, whether it be a kid that they had, kids, family. The mothers have to raise kids and all that. Dads can move on or whatever the case. Moms have to bear the responsibility of the kids, deal with the heartache or hardship or scars or whatever they dealt with having kids and stretch marks and all this where their body ain't what it used to be and all this. That's why you got all these surgeries and stuff going on. So women really have to bear the brunt of all this and deal with the aftermath of relationships and all this stuff they've dealt with. You know, that's why women are so emotional and men are really not. Men can kind of move on, keep it moving, but it's hard. And I'm only saying that again, is true love really attainable in 2025? It's hard because we have so many distractions. And like I said, if you've been through something like, say me, for instance, I've been in a few relationships in my life, not many like that, but I've been in a few where I could say were real relationships, right? And probably the last one I was in, you know, really like affected me to a point where once it was over, like, man, like you only have so much, especially as a man, and especially certain men. Like me, I grew up like really, I don't know, I wasn't in a lot of, I was never like a big relationship guy. Some people have been in relationships their whole life, like had a high school sweetheart, they were together for years and all this. I never was like a guy, like I moved around a lot. So, you know, I've had a few strong relationships. My baby's mom was one of the first real relationships I had early. Had a couple more. And then, like I said, the last one I was in probably the longest one. And that really affected me, you know, when we broke up, man. Like, man, and I'm the one that really broke up, but I didn't realize till later how much I really loved this girl. You know what I mean? Um, and it was hard, man. You know what I mean, to really get that out of me. And I didn't even know. I thought I was harder than her. Like, man, I ain't tripping, and really it affected me. You know what I mean? And this girl moved on. You know what I mean? And it fucked me up how she just moved on, and now I'm over here still like really having feelings for her and like in love, and she moved on, and it fucked me up. You know what I mean? Really, real talk. And almost to the point where I feel like sometimes you feel like you've given so much to something, so once that was all the way out of me, um, I don't know. I'm gonna say it was hard for me to love again. You know what I'm saying? But it's hard. Like you get that out of you, and now you're like, man, you're not tripping on like love. Like, of course, like I'm one that I've never been married. You know what I'm saying? But not to say I would rule marriage out. Who doesn't want marriage and a happy ending, right? But in 2025, can you get that? I don't know, because you have so many people just like I spoke on, went through a lot. You have women out here that's been through a lot. It's almost like some people are damaged, and if they're not damaged, they just like not settling for anything. You want to deal with a lot of bullshit, and right now it's just a lot of bullshit out here. And then not only on that, on top of that, you have a lot of distractions. You have social media. You have so many distractions. It's hard for a man, even men that are in relationships. I find out, and that's another thing I've learned over the years. Like a lot of people be in relationships, but they're not happy. You got a lot of people married that ain't happy. What I found out, a lot of these men, women and stuff, even men, but that are married, they're the main people out here doing the stuff. You know what I mean? A lot of women don't be happy that I'm married. They out here cheating on their husbands, and you already know men. A lot of men cheat. Not saying all, but it's a lot of unhappiness even with people that are in relationships, and you find that out being single. Like damn. So it makes you look at it too, like, do I want that, or it's hard. Like I said, even me before, once I gave so much to the last relationship, it took so much out of you that when you're out of it, you're like, man, do I want this again? And can you trust someone fully? And another thing I look at too is hard because you don't want to. It's like you don't want to give so much to someone, and then they have the power over you now. Because once now you're all the way in with someone to love someone so much, you're vulnerable. And then now women and stuff, shit is different nowadays, man. Like not all women, but some women are heartless, man, and you won't even know that until they get mad. You know what I mean? And now it's fuck you and all this. Some women out here are ruthless with it, man. You know what I mean? So it's like you're vulnerable, and do you want to give that much power to someone, or do you want to let someone hold the power of hold your heart in their hands where they could just break it? And then another thing is like you want peace nowadays. Peace is priceless. You know what I mean? So it's hard to give up that peace, to someone. But is true love attainable? I think it is. But you know what I think is gonna take? Again, I'm gonna bring God back into this. You have to put God in it. If you want a true successful relationship, God has to be in the picture, meaning that both people have to be on the same accord and believe in God, and you have to let God in to do the things that he needs, meaning that you have to have a God-fearing woman, and not all, I'm not saying for everyone, because some people, again, don't believe in God, and that's their own prerogative, but it's good to know these things. You have to know things about people. So what I've learned too, people nowadays claim they're in love, fall in love, and do all this, and they don't even really know a person. Because so many other things come before real love. Like you like someone, you're attracted to someone, and now things move fast. So you could be attracted to someone, like someone, you guys have sex or whatever it may be. Shit may be explosive, fireworks and all that, and now you think you're in love, or you claim you're in love, and you don't even really know this person for real. Some people be claiming they love someone, don't even know their real name. Real talk. Shit is real. You know what I'm saying? So you got to take all these things into account and look at a lot of these things. And that's what I do. So it's like, it's true love. I would love to have real love. I would love to be married and all that, but it got to be real. No one wants anything fake and forced. And I don't care. I would love that, but I don't have to necessarily need it. I'm at an age and point in my life, hey, you know what I mean? I can ride it out. Because I'm grown. I've been through enough. I've lived life. All that. I don't have to have that. You know what I'm saying? But Who doesn't want love? So is love attainable in today's age? It is. But again, you have to have God in your life. And you have to really want love. Some people say they want love or relationship, but they really don't. You have to really want that in your heart, and you have to be on the same accord. People have to both know what they want out of something. You can't. One person can't be over here doing this, saying this, and that's where a lot of things cross, because people are not on the same page. A girl can fall in love with a dude or think she knows this dude, and you really don't know this dude, and vice versa. But now feelings are involved. Love is sex and all these things, and or children. People get pregnant. Now you got a baby daddy, a baby mama that you don't even know, and that's why a year later you hate that person. But guess what? You got a kid with them now, and you gotta be in each other's lives forever. But you find out you really don't even know this person, and now you really don't even like them. So I don't know. So is love attainable? True love attainable in 2025? It is, but you got to be on the same accord. You got to have put God first. Like I say, even if you don't believe in God, okay, let that person know that. Everyone be on the same accord. I don't, you have to. I think communication is key. People don't communicate. We go up and meet each other in a club or bar or whatever and like each other. You fine. You this, that, and kick it. And girls go off of looks. Dudes, they look like they something, ballers, all this. They got the fly car, do all this, go home and put that thing on you, and you're in love. You don't know this dude. Same with dudes with females. You don't know this chick really like that. So it's about communication, but most importantly, it's about God. Put God first in everything you do, and that's half the battle. With everything I just spoke about, be it content, being in the streets, being in love, put God first, man. God is gonna lead you where you need to go. So again, I'm gonna wrap this up. This is Q&A with G Lew. Something new. It ain't new. We've done this before, but I want to bring it back. This is just a trial error or trial run. Take one. See how you people respond to it. If you like it, I'm just speaking real talk. You know what I mean? And want to give you some content because I don't get out here and do that as much anymore. Everything is just like music because that's what I love, and we have fun. It's carefree, you know what I mean? But we gotta speak some real stuff every now and then. Something like what I do on my gospel show. If you don't know, check out my gospel show I do every Sunday morning, 10 a.m. Pacific. Called It's a Gospel Thing. Praise and worship. We just give it up to God, man, and praise God. That's what it's about with me. That's where I'm at. But it's G Lew. It's the G Lew Show. Shout out to my producer, Dee Harrison. Shout out to the G Lew Show family. Everyone tuning in. It's your first time checking me out or checking out this channel. Go down there, hit the like, hit the subscribe to the channel. We got a gang of other stuff we do, you know what I mean, on this channel. This is just one, but we got different shows and different personalities and a lot of good fun and music. So hit that subscribe button. Check us out. Leave a comment because it helps out the algorithm. And everyone out there, have a blessed day, blessed week. It's G Lew from the G Lew Show. This show is sponsored by the homie Drunken Chef. Everyone out there, go get your follow my homeboy Drunken Chef Barbecue. Follow his YouTube channel. He has rubs, your seasoning and all that. Man, holler at the homie. He'll get you hooked up. Best rubs in the game. Also, this show is sponsored by the 5th annual G Lew Show reunion coming next month in April 26th. We got the 5th annual reunion. It's going down. You know what I mean? Right there, 5 years strong. April 26th, 7 p.m. to 12 p.m. We're going to be at the mansion party, doing it real big. Everyone's invited. No haters, though. Everyone's invited. Get at Dee, my producer, RSVP. Get at her at Dee Harrison at IG. Or get at me, the G Lew Show, all one word, the G Lew Show on IG. DM me. Get at us, RSVP. It's the 5th annual G Lew Show reunion going down at the mansion party, April 26th, right? Shout out to Street Level Clothing as well, my other sponsor. And shout out to Twin Towers, a new album out right now featuring me, produced by the homie D West. Online everywhere. Twin Towers, various artists, G Lew, Digital West. And shout out to DJ Maniac, man, that beat you here in the background. And with that being said, we out of here. It's Q&A with G Lew, questions, answers, gaming advice. Until next time, peace, love. Y'all have a great, blessed week. And we out of here, man. Peace.